the sound of money coming out of the taxpayers' pockets to pay for mistakes that are made because Sheriff Arpaio cannot focus on his job. You do well what you love, and if you love yourself, you get a sheriff like Sheriff Arpaio. There's a trial that started in Pinal County some weeks ago and was adjourned because the people in the courtroom, the lawyers, the risk managers, could see one thing. They were losing, and it was time to call it quits and minimize the loss. And they offered $3.25 million to do that. That offer has not been accepted, although Sheriff Joe has lost far more in front of juries in other jurisdictions, and the people that were on the court felt that he was losing badly enough that they needed to come forward with it. That's not what happened. Because our sheriff can't focus past one thing, an overwhelming love for himself. Donald Trump and Sheriff Arpaio share one thing in common, an unquenchable thirst for self-promotion. When it comes to the signs that you see on the buildings and the vehicles and the jails in Maricopa County, it's as if they had a person doing graffiti on every sign, because all the jails, all the buildings, all the vehicles of the Sheriff's Department are property of the Maricopa County people. We, the people, own those, but it's Sheriff Joe's Tent City Jail. It's Sheriff Joe Arpaio's Madison Street Jail. It's Joe Arpaio's war on drugs. It's not our war on drugs. Paul Panzone, for years, his name has been associated with silent witness. Silent witness. When we look at the overwhelming cult of ego around Sheriff Arpaio, we see it all around. For years, I have represented people who've been injured because of the neglect of Sheriff Arpaio. And when I talk to detention officers and I talk to deputies, they tell me one thing. When the cameras aren't there, Sheriff Arpaio is not there. He's not interested in the workings of the county jail. He has an office right there on the 19th floor of the Wells Fargo building, not over in the jail where the room is free, not in the 2nd Avenue jail where he has a dog kennel, literally an indoor dog kennel, instead of a sheriff's office. We have to pay $500,000 so that he can be in a wood-lined office instead of in the jail where he belongs with his own people. I brought a tent stake just as a story for one of my clients. Sheriff Arpaio, in his book, America's Toughest Sheriff, wrote, and I'm going to quote him, although he denied knowing the quote when he was cross-examined in trial. Maybe he was in the tent city getting publicity with cameras and reporters and with lots of people guarding him, and he was threatened. Maybe I'll go get a piece of rebar out where it holds the tent down. Then a grin laughed. I could hit the old sheriff in the head with it while he sleeps. The threat was this, and it was not just to Sheriff Arpaio, but to all of the people in the tent city, that someone would take a tent stake out from where it holds up the tent because they weren't cemented down, and they used these as weapons. And 1 year to the day later, a young man who I represented was beaten with these and was given brain damage when he was beaten with a tent stake that should have been cemented down. But it wasn't. What kind of sheriff allows his people to go out and work on the streets instead of cementing down the tent stakes? We took the case to trial. We won. We were given money for the young man. We were given $190,000 punitive damage against Sheriff Arpaio. But did the tent stakes get cemented down? No, because the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office is run for one thing, and that's for ego gratification. Why else do we have a 50-millimeter machine gun? Why do we have tanks? Why is it like a reality show in Maricopa County instead of like a city where our sheriff cares about doing his job, not getting his name in the papers? For 20 years, Paul Panzone has been working. He's been working, fighting crime, not getting publicity. When he's been there representing the people. He is a professional law enforcement officer and not a politician. It's time for a change. I'm tired of watching the victims come in because of the neglect of Sheriff Arpaio. It's time to get serious about doing the job of sheriff and not the job of publicity.